I'd sort of assumed that diversocrats face down in that much gravy was mostly an American phenomenon, but it seems Her Majesty's government has now got the diversity fevers too. Sophie Corcoran is with us, and Sophie, you actually produced chapter and verse on how many of these guys there are in the government.
Yep, so in HMRC alone, there's 16 of them, costing about £3 million in the last couple of years. But the NHS is the biggest culprit for this. They have 165 diversity chiefs, costing us up to 6.8 million. So remember, next time you are waiting 3 hours for an ambulance, they won't be able to help you, but thank Lord that if they do get there, they'll be able to tell you your pronouns, if obviously you're not dead by them.
Yeah, that's actually the issue, isn't it? The NHS, they've got no dentists, but they've got diversity bureaucrats. What
do they do? Diversity chiefs can't solve cancer. They can't help anybody. They don't do anything. What is the requirement to become a diversity chief? Nothing.
What do they do? You said they were at HMRC. What the hell does a diversity guy do at the Treasury? Because that's actually the one thing that's impeccably diverse. They tax everybody.
Yep.
Well, how would you go about saying we need to make Treasury more diverse? I mean, what's that about?
Well, I don't even think it's the Treasury. I think it should be across all things as well as the NHS. I don't care what colour my doctor is. I would just like to be able to see one, but unfortunately I can't because they've got so many diversity chiefs.
No, that's true, actually.
Per every diversity chief, you can hire 3 nurses. They can hire, I think, in terms of their cash loss, they've also got green chiefs, environment. They've got 86 green staff as well that are also earning millions together. If you add those together, 16,000 nurses on a full-time salary you could get if we stop wasting money on woke positions.
But what I don't get is what a diversity officer does I mean, if someone... I don't know a lot about plumbing, but I broadly understand what a plumber does when he sets about his work. But I have no idea what a diversity guy does when he gets to the office at 9 in the morning. What does he do for the next day, or she, or whatever, because I take it they're diverse. But what does he, she, they do when they get in for the next 8 hours?
I'm assuming just make up fake microaggressions. But you said something earlier, which is how diversity is a strength. I think this obsession with diversity is a danger. I mean, look at the grooming gangs. I mean, I dare anybody that thinks that this whole idea of white privilege exists, I dare any one of them to go up to those thousands of girls in Telford or Rochdale and tell them that because they were raped and it was systematically covered up by the police and the government because they were white, I dare anyone to go and tell those girls that they have white privilege. I dare you. I literally dare you.
Oddly enough, people do in those towns. They seem to think that diversity is such a desirable goal that basically, you know, to rewrite that apocryphal remark by Queen Victoria, those girls just should lie back and think of diversity, basically. I mean, that's what the regimes in those cities are telling them.
It's dangerous. It's wasting us millions of pounds in terms of our economy. It is putting young female girls at risk. It's terrible for social mobility because, as we know, young white working class boys are the most left behind in education. And there was a recent poll saying that white people proportionately were the least likely to go to Russell Group unis. Do you think that we have diversity schemes? We don't get any whites-only scholarships. We don't get any whites-only diversity schemes and bursaries, even though we are the least likely to progress because it doesn't suit their diversity agenda. So, you know, I dare anybody to go up to a white working class boy who's been left behind and tell them they've got white privilege. I dare you. It doesn't exist. And this obsession with diversity is why our culture is falling to pieces.
Well, what's so weird is that, I mean, America, which was a couple of decades ahead of us, and the same phenomena that it was poor rural whites who were the biggest victims of this racket. But Britain, at the highest levels, seems to have embraced it, you know, like dull Whitehall bureaucrats who you wouldn't have thought would get this kind of madness in there, and now somehow want to be as woke as the wokest Starbucks
because
barista.
there's a lot of money in it, though. I mean, look at Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter organisers, they have like mansions, like loads of. There's a lot of money in diversity, in wokeness, so it's attractive because in normal capitalist societies, you want to go where the money is, and that unfortunately is where the money is at the minute. That's through businesses, through high office politicians, through most people, and especially people who are on £100,000 salary to be a diversity officer. If you could earn £100,000 to do absolutely nothing, I would sign me up.
Oh no, I wouldn't. If you compared to actually doing a proper day's work, I'd rather be a diversity consultant any day of the week. In fact, I may be in the market for that job if Ofcom have their way. But you're completely right there about the money, except that diversity, multiculturalism is a unicultural phenomenon. You can't go to Saudi Arabia and become a diversity
Well, just
consultant.
look at the football. The outrage of the BBC that said all the English girls are white.
Yeah.
Would you say that about the Nigerian team?
No.
No, of course they wouldn't. It's only a problem if the person is white.